What is going on, everybody? My name is Ciara Lawler. Welcome to another week of Weird News Wednesdays. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast. We are back again talking all the strangest news stories from around the world. We talk about the news that the real news is too afraid to talk about. As always, I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Shaun Bean. Shaun, how is it going?
It's going very well, Connor. As you well know, I've cracked a can of Monster just before starting recording the show. So, in the usual time when I'd lull off, I'm going to be raring. So, Story 4 is going to be the heavy hitter this week.
45 minutes in, we're going for another hour.
Just keep recording. Just never stop. It never gets published.
I'll just hang up and you'll still be talking to yourself. Just like, that's fucking mad. That's a weird news story for the ages.
I'll just keep assessing the story and just going deeper and deeper into it.
So, Shaun, this is weird news. What do we do here?
You have spent the week gathering all of the weirdest news stories from around the world. I've still been talking about last week's show, so I've not had time to talk about any weird news stories, Connor.
No, absolutely not. And so I normally I scour the globe. I try to put together all of the weirdest idiots in the world this week. And there have been some idiots this week, is what I'll say.
Here I am.
And I get one of them to talk for the other one. You're the representative.
It's like a Highlander scenario. Like there's one, and you're the last one, and you're the best of the best in terms of idiots.
I basically get you in to find out the mindset. Because I'm looking from the outside. I don't know what these people are thinking.
Yeah, I'm like one of those grizzled old detectives that comes in and like gets in the mind of the serial killer, but
and has done a load of murders himself.
Yeah, like he does a load of murders. His personal life is really fucked up. I've been watching Hannibal recently.
So, Shaun, we are starting this week with a crime that I would say is the equivalent of Hannibal and the crime that he has done.
Now, you're familiar with, like, that's cannibalism, right? That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Okay,
but,
so same level as cannibalism.
Now, some would say my comparison skills might be a bit off, but I would say pretty bang on, because here we go. There is a vandal in a village in Britain, Shaun, currently.
Oh.
And this vandal, I know I said cannibalism was the same. This vandal is pouring beans on people's front doors, Shaun.
Oh, that's just chaotic evil right there, because there's no sense to that. Like baked beans, like I'm assuming it's a tin of baked beans.
It's a tin of baked beans, Shaun, yes.
Okay, and is he hitting like a particular suburb all in one night? Or is it single to one individual? Because that's more worrying.
And if it's a one individual, it's a hate crime, isn't it?
That's like targeted assault at that point.
Local officers have received reports of incidents in Warnesh where beans and other food has been poured onto residents' front doors and cars overnight. The Surrey police have written on their Facebook page, Shaun, the best place for all policemen to go.
That's all the reports have to go through Facebook, otherwise they're not an actual crime.
How will I know what Susan thinks? Sad face.
What's with all these care reacts?
The victims are understandably distressed by this unacceptable behaviour, the Facebook post says. And it also included an image, which was the saddest image I could ever see. 4 empty cans of beans, presumably discarded by the perpetrator. And a photo of some unfortunate locals' bean-drenched driver's side door. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, you'll never truly get the beans away from
the stink will be there.
The stink will be there. The texture, there'll be a bit of stickiness. Now, not as bad as it could have been, because I was thinking what else comes in tins, right? It's summer. It's summer at the minute.
Tuna.
Bug season. Tuna. Oh, tuna's pure filth, actually. Go fuck yourself with that one. I was thinking tinned pineapple, Connor. Oh, the sugar content. The ants. Imagine the ants.
See, I went tuna because I think that would be worse. That's an instant bad, and it'll get worse as like the pineapple. That's nice for the first, I would say, 5 minutes. You're thinking that's a nice smell, sweet, but I can live with it.
Yeah.
But as the day goes on, there's a lot of ants. Seems to attract quite a few of them.
And now you're the pineapple house. In a world of houses covered in baked beans, you're the one man covered in pineapple. Like, all the ants are going to go to you. I'd rather have the beans. I'd take the beans over the ants any day.
I mean, they're going to have to scrub these cards, but they'll never be clean, Shaun. I mean, no matter how much they scrub.
No, like, do you know what would be slightly more confusing? It's not worse by any means, but like, if on the card they just left an opened can of Spam.
Like, it's opened, but it's not anywhere. It's just opened.
It's just opened, left gently atop the car. And like,
a little note, next time.
Yeah, just a perfect cube of like fucking processed meat. What I was thinking as well, you said there was 4 cans of empty beans, or 4 empty cans of beans. The beans were probably full. The cans were empty. But
Grammar,
it's important to me. But have you seen, and this is like, I don't know whether it's the worst thing I've ever seen or the best thing I've ever seen, but it's the little like bachelor's beans packets, and it's like for all the world like some Dairyly Lunchables, but it's just a pack of beans that you just pull the top off, like a Muller corner, but there's beans inside, so you can just have beans on the go.
Okay, I'll be honest with you. Whoever's having that is a maniac. If there's a listener right now that is actually, there's some world where one of our listeners are eating those beans
right now,
right as they listen to this,
and like they're listening to it right now. And they're just holding the spoon, just like
they're trying to find out what our opinion is of it.
Wonder what? Well, I love beans, but what did the lads think about beans on the go?
What do you think about beans on the go? Because I think there was, if it wasn't broke, don't change it. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of I like beans in things. I wouldn't eat a tin of beans on their own, nor a little convenient snack pack of beans. Yeah. I'm not eating that by the spoon.
I think if you eat beans on their own, you have to have a little stick that has a little bag on the end of it.
Yeah, that's very true. And you have a little tiny metal grate that you heat the beans over.
Of course. Or else are you going to eat them?
But that's the beauty of the tinned beans. That doesn't work. Like, anytime you see someone eating those little snack packs of beans, you know they're eating cold beans.
You'll never see a hobo eating those packets. It's just not right.
They prefer the recyclability of the tin.
They're all about the environment. That's plastic. We're fucked if we keep eating. The beans are trying to kill us off. That's the only thing that's going on.
Is this like Banksy but for beans? Like, is this a protest about the amount of bean snack packs that are on the market?
Well, I think what really stood out to me in this Facebook comment section is that the police, like, they have to give a description of what, like, someone suspicious, or keep an eye out for this person, and their description was a shifty looking person carrying a half dozen cans of baked beans.
Well, that could be anyone in Britain.
How will you know if they have baked beans unless they're carrying them like in their hands at that exact time, which I don't think is the best way to transport these beans to crimes.
No, they have. I think they'd have like a bandolier, like grenades, but it's beans, like 2 of them across their chest.
Oh, you wouldn't want to be biting off the top. Very dangerous.
Very, very dangerous. Do you think? Okay, what if? Because there's 2 types of cans of beans, Connor. One of them has a convenient little pull tab that you can just beans plenty. But then you have the ones that are just a fucking sealed tin, and you need an opener. So do you think maybe he's got the bandoliers of beans across his chest, 2 holsters on the side, separate can openers?
Do you think Beans killed his parents?
Maybe. You know, he's just channeled that into bean-based justice from now on.
What? I don't understand the vandalism, though. I mean, the fact that it's happened multiple times now, and the reason why this is in our weird news section is because they took the time to put on a Facebook post that this needs to be stopped. Like, this is a village-wide concern that you could be next for this bean vandalism.
How big is the village? I granted, I'm asking a lot of you there.
How am I going to know? What do you want, square foot?
What's the... it's like population density by square kilometre, please.
I'm taking 100,000 by 1,500 feet.
Okay, fair enough. What's the name of it? Was that
in Waverley.
Waverley. Wizards of Waverley Place, perhaps.
It's a borough in south east England.
It's also a housing development in Greystones in Wicklow.
Oh, the village is Wonursh. Sorry. So Wonersh.
Wonursh. Okay. Village in England. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Lads, imagine a small country village and that's it.
Village. But then that means it's one of them.
That's it. It's someone in the village, like a Hot Fuzz situation. But like the person, you could solve this crime immediately because I guarantee you there's 2 fucking supermarkets in that village. Like, just go and look at the person buying 46 cans of beans.
Now, here's the thing. We think that this is just a one-off. This has happened multiple times, Shaun. For example, last year, what happened in the park was somebody decided to put a load of beans over the swings and the seesaws. And the children turned up and nobody could use any of them because there was beans everywhere, Shaun.
I mean, the beans aren't going to kill you. That's why God invented washing machines, children.
They also put the beans on the merry-go-round, which would be extra slippy to fuck with them.
That's actually... Oh, beans on a slide. Imagine beans on a slide.
And someone said, one parent wrote on Facebook, I don't understand, which I think really sums it all up.
There's no sense to this. No one can fix this.
And so this has been going on for quite a while. And so they've been making mess on equipment. They've been making mess on houses. They've been making messes on cars. Shaun, what is the idea behind these beans and how do we bring this person to justice?
Okay, so advantages of beans, I suppose. Sorry, what?
I just said toast man.
Toast man. But if anything, Toastman would ally with Mr. Bean.
Yeah, actually, that'd be a Batman and Robin situation, to be honest.
That's true. Actually, what's Rowan Atkinson up to?
Why?
Is he making a comeback? Because this would be great viral marketing.
I don't think Rowan Atkinson needs this viral marketing.
Are you sure, though? Because who's ever heard of Rowan Atkinson?
Everyone. Is he not a sir?
Is he?
I think he might be a sir.
What if he's a mister?
I think he's probably a multi-billionaire, so I think he's fine.
Rowan Atkinson, he's a CBE. He has a commendation of the British Empire.
Oh, sorry.
Sure, we have that, like.
Have that in the back. May go find it.
Just keep adding more and more letters after my name.
So, Shaun, how do we bring this person to justice? Because it's happened multiple times now. It's a small village. How do we lure them out?
I will say, I actually looked up the population of the village in 2011 in the census. It's about 3,600 people. Okay,
I mean, there's nobody there, like.
There's no
it has
one
to be
there.
one of them.
It's not some blow-in. Or like, if it is the guy who just moved to town,
then it's definitely him.
It's definitely, like, it's clearly him.
Mr. Bachelors. Who did it?
Actually, if you did get, like... he's unmarried. He's an unmarried man, a bachelor, if you will.
Oh, yes.
He's expressing himself through beanage. But...
this is the next season of The Bachelor.
What if... And maybe... Okay, the town needs a new industry, right? So, you get big into grain, okay? Grain farming. Just grow a load of wheat.
Right.
And then set up a mill... And then turn that into flour, mix it with some other things, who can say what, and it becomes bread, right? But not just any bread. You fashion that bread into doormats, right? And then... My
head is in my hands, but please continue.
Summer heat toasts the bread on the metal plate that you've installed underneath your doormat, bread. And then once Bean Boy comes along, it's breakfast for the family.
So your idea is like the opposite of like a gingerbread house. You're just making a bread house.
Yeah.
And then hoping that Bean Man comes along and we're going to eat a piece of our home.
Yes. But that's how the industry thrives, is because Now you have people, as soon as they eat the doormat, you're out to get a new doormat.
Would there not be a recession if he retires? The housing crisis.
If he's but that's the thing. Then you get someone else takes up the mantle of bean. It's like a town tradition that's passed down from person to person, and someone takes up the mantle of Bean Man.
I feel like you should never start a company, just in terms of business.
Right.
I think there's a lot of expenses, and there's not a lot of profit in that idea.
But no, sorry, you sell the doormats. You don't just give them away for free.
Yeah, but there's a lot of steps before selling the doormats, that you're making them out of bread that you grow in farms.
Yeah, all bread is grown, Connor.
No, but you're setting up your own farm from scratch.
Well, the townsfolk are banding together to do it.
I like the idea you in the square trying to rattle them all together. And you're like, who the fuck is he?
People, we've been plagued by this bean menace for too long.
Isn't that the new guy? Too long. He's been plaguing us.
And as lead suspect in the Bean Man case.
I say we need to stop him. I mean, them. Could be anyone.
Could be anyone. Certainly not me.
We need to stop me. Wait. No, them.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, I propose a toast.
Beans.
We all lift up cans of beans and drink them off.
So, Shaun, we're going to move on to our next piece of news, and we are going to Eastbourne. This is in England as well, because I have man's handwriting was so bad, Eastbourne bank staff didn't know he was trying to rob them.
Oh, so now, they were robbed by a doctor, were they?
Oh, well, no, I don't know if we've covered this before, because this happened a few months ago, and he's only in court now, which is why it's coming back out. And I can't remember if we covered it or not, which is putting me in a weird situation. I don't think we did.
I don't think so. I think I would have remembered a bad handwriting man robbing a bank.
So, Slattery entered 3 banks in Eastbourne and Hastings in the space of 2 weeks, and used written notes to ask the cashiers to hand over money, officers said. According to the police, his first attempt was at the Nationwide Building Society in Terminus Road, everyone's second favourite road.
What's everyone's first favourite road, Connor?
Abbey?
Pretty good. Certainly a road.
Yes. Improv. But due to poor handwriting, the employee was unable to read the note, and Slattery just left. That's going to be a sad sight of a man leaving after trying to rob the bank.
Yeah, just like, I'm sorry, what does this say? And he'd be so taken aback by that point. So he just shut down, just left, just peace out. And then presumably went home and did a Skillshare class about fucking
calligraphy.
Calligraphy gets really good at it this time. Speaking of Skillshare...
No, he types it out in Comic Sans, prints it off. I'll never happen again.
It's the most legible font.
A Sussex police spokesperson said, staff at the bank, and I think this is the best words, later managed to read the note, which means it took them a while of passing it around. I can only assume, what the fuck does this say?
A few people looked at it and tried to work it out at that point.
Yeah. The note said, your screen won't stop what I've got. Just hand over the 10s and 20s and think about the other customers. That's what he said in the note. But having seen the note, the employee could not figure out what the fuck he was talking about. I could only see the numbers 10 and 20. I was like, what?
But that's such a roundabout way. I get he's trying to deliver a threat, right? But, certain things work better when they're spoken. If that was said out loud, yeah, absolutely, that's a terrifying thing to hear. But reading that slowly over the course of a letter, I don't think it has the same impact, to whom it may concern. On this day, I would request of you...
the man in front would request of you this humble ask... that if you could forsake me with some notes of 10s and 20s values.
with you being of sound body and mind and hoping to keep it that way.
Because I have a gun and you're gonna die. I will say, it goes off at the end. The little note.
Look, I wrote it in the car. I was doing my best.
Yeah, he was writing the first bit at home and then he had to rush. He was like, fucking make that 2:30 appointment for the bank robbery.
Yeah, and okay, maybe, let's give him the benefit of the doubt here. Maybe the bank and the whole town is built on cobbled roads and he took a horse to get there.
I mean, we could give him that. I mean, you could. I feel like that's, once again, the work of a madman, so let's maybe not give him that kind of leeway.
Okay.
He could just be really bad at writing with his hands.
But
fair.
An
expert with his feet.
It's a multi-talented man. Excellent.
Skillshare.
That's what he got that the glass wouldn't stand up to. He's got a good kick.
Yeah, he never says what he has that the glass won't stand up to, but I like the idea that it's kung fu.
It's kung fu, but also, like, we decided long ago the best weapon to rob a bank with is a grenade.
Did we?
We decided this ages ago, because if someone walks in holding a grenade and says, give me the money, all bets are off at that point.
It's like, I'll kill you, I'll kill me, I don't care.
I don't care, I'm just in this now. This is my life.
So Slattery then decided that 2 weeks later, he would try to rob a different bank. And he entered the building, and upon giving his note to the cashier could once again barely make out what he was trying to say, to which he then had to tell her, verbally, that it was a robbery. She then gave him 2.5 grand in cash, and he left. But upon receiving this report, officers said that they had already heard of Slattery from the previous robbery, because they looked at cameras, and so the second time, they just went straight to his home, and he was just sitting there with his 2.5 grand, just like, yes, the perfect crime.
I've done it. And occasionally in crimes, they'll they'll check fingerprints, they'll check security cameras, occasionally they'll try and match handwriting as well. What if he was trying to throw him off the scent, and he's actually like a scribe in medieval times or something?
I mean, yeah. Also, that would imply he'd have to take the note home with him, or he didn't take the note. I think if you had the note, yeah, he left the note. No, you're right. So he left it there, and there was directions to his enemy's house on the back.
Yeah, in invisible ink that could only be revealed with lemon juice and heat, Connor.
You're thinking of a national treasure kind of situation.
I am. Most days of my life, I'm thinking of a national treasure situation.
You just want a big riddle or a mystery to
I just want excitement.
I just want to be Nicolas Cage. And so they apparently, in his home, they found sticky labels identical to the label that had been handed over at the 2 bank shots. So not quite bulletproof in terms of finding evidence, but I would say pretty close.
He wrote it on labels.
Yeah.
Like sticky address labels.
Yeah, like the ones you have beside the phone.
Why? What? What do you have? Wait, what? Sorry, explain that for a second. What do you have beside the phone?
The sticky labels.
This is... No.
If you ever work in any office and they have like a phone, they'll definitely have some sticky notes beside it that you write. If someone rings, they're like, we're looking for Tom. You write it on it.
Sticky notes. Absolutely grand. The labels are like, I thought that's what you put on front of your school books.
Ah, right. No, yeah, I'm with you now. No, I took sticky labels as sticky notes.
That's fair. That's absolutely fine. It was an error in syntax on my part. I'd like to formally apologise. Please accept this handwritten note. Do you know, I once got told that my signature looks like I'm testing a pen.
I could have a big long discussion about signatures because there's pressure. For example, right? Why does anyone who's older than us, their signatures always look way cooler and way more refined? Ours look like shit, Shaun.
Ours look like total shit. But I think Dave just had more time to practice. I
don't know. Mine is very squiggly, but I just literally copied off everyone else. I could just write mine not connected. Connor Lawler, but I'm like,
just holding a pen in your fist.
But it's like everybody else is doing fancy stuff, so I better do a big C, squiggles, big L.
Yeah, that's it. I get the S and then I just put my hand into spasm and just whatever happens, happens.
And if they ever ask you for a signature twice, different signature each time, I'll get arrested.
I don't know why I'd bother giving my signature on anything.
Because nobody can read it.
It makes no difference at all. The like my passport, driver's license, and like daily signature are all different.
Yeah, and it's just whatever I felt like on the day.
Yeah.
What, was I thinking big C, little C? Well, I don't know how to start, because once it starts, I'm just kind of going into a little bit of a squiggle zone.
That's it. Am I Con or am I Connor today?
Look, signatures are something that baffle me. I'm one of those people that constantly is just like, maybe I should just write it like I would normally write it. But then I'm like, is the person, maybe even like if it was an Amazon driver, are they judging me if I do like a childlike signature?
Yeah, just very carefully between the lines.
On the line, careful.
What was I going to say there? We're talking about signatures. No, it's gone. It was a good thought, Connor, but it's absolutely gone, and I'm sorry. I failed everyone involved.
You were talking about driving licence, passport,
no, it's gone.
Your social security number.
Wait,
You're
what?
just about to tell us.
Oh, okay, all right. It's 1, 2, 3. That's it.
You got it early.
Yeah.
So, Shaun, what do you think of this guy? I think if you try to commit the crime and you hand in the note, would you have the balls to hand in the same note the second time around as well?
Or do you go home and like try your best to write it again? But he clearly didn't. Like, he couldn't. They couldn't read the note twice. So either he gave in the same note after knowing it didn't work, and apparently like just placing blame on the cashier, or
what are you, illiterate? It's so clearly there.
Went home, wrote it again, and still fucked it up. Do you think he copied the first one onto a second one?
I like the idea he's like Bart Simpsoning it. Like he's writing out 55 times on a board just to try to get it right. But then whenever it comes to this post-it note, he always gets it wrong. He's like, fuck, it's not clear.
I need more space. I remember what I was going to say. So, and it's not funny at all. It's just a thing I think every so often. But isn't it wild that like I had a class of like when I was learning to write, I was in a class of like 30 kids.
You were 19.
Yeah, I'm doing my best. Still getting there. But, like, the teacher taught us all to write, and the teacher would write letters on the board, but everyone's handwriting is different. That's wild to me.
That seems like a very philosophical question. What? It's just about, is it about personality? What is this, Shaun?
I don't know. I think people's hands are strong in different ways. So
put that on his tombstone.
So, like... You know, your middle finger might move stronger than your thumb or any of that shit. But
I'm going to have a few Albert Einstein quotes beside some people's hands are stronger than others. No, in different ways.
Strong in different ways. Which could be inspirational. Like
some people have vice-like grips. Some people light as a feather. You don't know.
Yeah, ever give a handshake to someone and it feels like, oh no, that's wrong.
And break your bones. Ever done that?
Yeah. The lad I used to work with had a really fucking strong grip. And I was like, I'm never introducing myself to you again. Which is usually how it works. Usually you do it once.
Usually, never again. Why would you do it? Why would you be like, hi, I'm Shaun?
Good to see you again. Oh, well, maybe.
So we're going to have to move on, right? Because we were talking about calligraphy there for quite a while. But we're moving on to just a small story that the headline made me burst out laughing because it was on Teesside Live. And it's a case of a loyal Aldi customer, Shaun, who was reduced to tears.
Oh.
Mom left crying and shaking by speed of Aldi cashier as food piled high.
We've all been there.
They're too quick. They're just too quick, Shaun.
It's efficient, Connor. What you do? I'll say myself, I'm something of an athlete, but I've never had an issue with the
something
Aldi packing
being the key
word. So what I do, here's my standard procedure. I'd go up, and I've been doing a week's shop lately. You know, like it's quite a bit going into that trolley.
Jesus.
So, well, it's still Aldi, like so.
It's all Froobs, just the whole thing,
just it's packets upon packets of Froobs
and beans.
What more do you need? And I keep them both at room temperature. But you get your bags. I have 2 Aldi bags, fit perfectly in the trolley, and you just throw it in. Don't worry about putting bread on the bottom or the top. It's fine. You're going to be taking them out in 15 minutes anyway. It's not going to ruin it.
Right.
So you just hop it all into the bags, say thank you very much, and leave. Maybe pay for it if you can.
Sorry, that doesn't help really at the till.
It does though, because you can just pack as it's being thrown out. Now look,
Right.
some people can't. That's fine. But that's what the repacking shelf of shame is for in Aldi. You know that bit by the window?
Shelf of shame. So loyal Aldi customer Nicola Fuller. I just have the idea of you with your trolley looking across, going, shaking your head.
Fucking animals.
How the lesser half live. Look at them. Pack it into their little bags to walk home.
I am humbled by this journey.
So Nicola Fuller was with her 3 young children when she became embroiled in a heated discussion with a staff member she claims was rude. So, the 35-year-old's complaint centred on the worker's ferocious speed and aggressive approach as she loaded her food on the conveyor belt. She claims the worker refused to slow down, even as food fell from the allocated packing area onto the floor like a slot machine.
What the fuck?
This is her complaint.
That's a fair complaint.
But would that have happened?
I don't know. I feel like
one.
one like bag of lettuce or something might have fallen, and that's it. But I don't think your man was just shoving shit off.
There's no way that he's like putting it through, and he sees it all piling up, and it starts falling like just like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and he's still like, no, fuck it, more cereal, more fucking shit.
Give me the eggs. Give me the eggs.
Putting them on fucking top. This will fucking teach you. And to make matters worse, she says other customers were gawping as the cashier piled the food high. Eventually, huge towers of products piled up, Shaun, as Nicola tried to keep up with the bag packing.
But what the fuck, like?
How slow was she?
That's it. Like, that's my real question here, because if there also, whoever wrote this went to like proper journalism school.
Oh yeah, and has been given this story, which I have picked up because it's being reported as a proper story.
And the language is beautiful, might I say. The towers of produce that are stacking up.
I mean, she has to get interviewed, Shaun, because this is a serious fucking topic. This is big.
It is.
This is big, right? This could take Aldi down from the inside. Right?
From one man.
He could see my struggle, and when a tin finally fell, I began crying and shaking, she said to the news. I knelt to the floor to pick up the food while simultaneously trying to watch my children. I asked the cashier to please stop scanning more food. But Nicola says, and this is the best bit, she received a blunt and aggressive response as the cashier accused her of not packing quickly enough and dubbed her a liar for her accusations that he was doing it too fast.
I mean, like, presumably, like, he's the professional in that scenario. Look, if someone asks you to do something, you should try and accommodate and all that stuff. We've all done customer service. But like, he does this day in, day out. Like, that's his jam, and he's never been told. Like, if this was happening every day, then maybe it's an issue.
Here's the thing. You're coming to his turf, right?
That's it.
You got to keep up. You come to the master, you best not miss. You know what I mean? She's come to the man he's going to put it through. It's up to you to keep up.
That's it. He sets the pace. Like, just put it in the trolley. But the packing. Okay, so the Aldi. Look. I'm not sure if people know the layout of it, but there's a little section when you have the trolley, and it's right by the bit where they leave the goods. What are they called? The shopping.
The goods? What are you buying? Drugs?
So when they scan it and they just leave it on the little bit, and then the trolley is like nestled in there. So even if he kept pushing, it would just go into the trolley, and then you go to the shelf of shame, which is a way better system if you're a slow packer.
What if you didn't have a trolley?
But then how much shit is she having in the basket?
Yeah. No trolley. She's just carrying it. Just piles of it.
Maybe that's it. That she's just trying to fucking shoulder all of these beans that she's buying.
Like, this story is written like this woman has been assaulted. That this woman has had something absolute. She says, and this is her own words, right? She says that the other worker was lovely. So another worker came across and diffused the situation, right? But here's the thing. She's not emotionally over it, Shaun, because she says the incident has personally knocked my confidence. And I left the store in tears. And I got into a bit of a panic, she said.
Right, okay. And look, panic attacks happen. They're terrible when they do.
I don't think this was a panic.
Maybe this was the straw that broke the camel. Maybe the kids were being absolute devils the entire day.
Could have been that as well.
It was a wit's end scenario. Just like, this is the last fucking thing I need. But in terms, this is just something that popped into my head. People outside of Ireland might not get this, but do you remember Super Quinn back in the day?
Yes.
It was like an old supermarket that was just very, very Irish.
Owned by some lad called Quinn.
Yeah, Mr. Quinn. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
So it was Super Quinn.
Super Quinn, very self-centred. But and I think it's actually still in like a couple of Irish supermarkets today, that instead of the little like shelf that all of the goods are put onto after they're scanned, it's just a fucking ramp. And it just that's a proper pile up when they get going. And you're just like digging it out with a trough. But
Aldi doesn't have the big ramp.
No.
So it just has that little bit at the end. You gotta keep up, or else you're getting forgotten about. And maybe the ramp was the best idea. Maybe they need a ramp.
Maybe you need the ramp, but then I feel the ramp encourages chit chat. You know, because it's safely protected by the ramp. There's no fear.
And you think you have more time than you do, but the poor eggs are about to be crushed by the bottle of Coke that you're after buying.
Oh, that's it. And like it's Aldi. Like, there could be a bowling ball in the middle aisle, just Indiana Jonesing towards your avocado.
Not my avocado on toast. No, I'll never buy a house. I've wasted all of my bowling ball. And, so also this story ends with her saying, normally I pop into Aldi a couple of times a week, but I've been putting it off. I'll have to face it at some stage.
I mean, yeah, fair, you probably will. A couple of times a week though, that's not too bad actually. I used to do that in college before I started doing the week shop, Connor. I
think a week shop is better. I think week shop, get everything there, and then pick little bits throughout the... If you need to stop in for 20 minutes, that's fine. But I would normally go heavy week shop, get all the dinners anyway.
Yeah, get all the dinner, even some lunch stuff, like pack a sliced ham and some bread. That'll get you through the week. Like, worst comes to worst, you'll have a ham sandwich. Bit of cheese, perhaps. Sourdough, bit of avocado. I'm never getting a house.
And all of the trips to the shop. I can only assume.
And then we'll just get a takeaway.
Yes. Get all the dinners for the week. What's the date? Oh, that's out tomorrow. Okay, that's out the next day. Will we just get a fucking Indian, will we?
We'll just get an Indian and just fuck this whole week shopping out the window.
Fuck that.
That's me.
So I'm going to move on to our next piece of news, Shaun, and it involves animal rescuers searching for a hissing cobra who they found more than they bargained for. So animal rescuers called to a Singapore home in which a woman thought she had heard a cobra hissing, wound up rescuing the resident from a malfunctioning electric toothbrush. Oh,
okay. good to know those things sound similar.
So here's the thing. So she's at home. She hears this. I mean, I suppose it must be called hissing. She hears it going on. She's like, what the fuck? There has been some reports that maybe there was a cobra loose in the area. She's thinking, it's come for me. This is when I go. It's in the house.
Yeah, it's specifically in the bathroom.
And so she's like, let's not go check. Because, I mean, if it's a cobra, fair enough.
That's it. Yeah, like much like the Aldi scenario. Now you're going into the cobra's turf, you know. So you best come prepared.
And I think at that point, if you've already made the mental note that it is a cobra, you definitely don't go check.
Yeah, once you've decided it's a cobra, it stops being, oh, maybe it's a cobra, and it's like, fuck, there is a cobra in the bathroom.
Then the question becomes, there's a lot of steps between, what's that weird hissing noise, and there's a cobra in my bedroom, or in the bathroom, I should say. There has to be bits in between where she thinks, well, it might be... No, it's got to be a cobra.
Unless there's like nothing else going on in the town and there's just been 24/7 news coverage of the fact that a cobra is loose somewhere. So it will be preying on your mind. But I'm trying to think if I heard like a hissing in my house. I would immediately go, oh, it's a gas leak. Like that's where my head would go.
You would accept it.
Immediately. With open arms. But because of St. Patrick, we don't have to worry about the cobras or anything like that.
He did the work for us.
Did the work for us until the Celtic Tiger and all the snakes came back. Bit of Irish political humour for you there.
A bit about the bankers in 2007. Very on the button.
It's too big to fail.
I love the idea that most people listening to this are like, what?
What the fuck are they talking? There's a tiger in Ireland?
The snakes. The snakes came back.
The absolute snakes.
See, snakes and snakes, they're different things in Ireland. Ireland has different vocabulary for them.
That's true. The simple act of adding a H turns it from, a delightful reptilian creature to someone who will buy up a load of houses and rent them out instead of selling them to families. Glad to know it's not happening nowadays.
The snakes. The snakes are back, Sean.
Snakes are back, boys. They're back from their skiing trips.
Oh man, so dumb.
This monster is hitting well, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's going straight through you. Do you want to talk about the 2007 financial crisis a little bit?
I would actually, because here's the thing.
Here's the thing. The boys, they didn't know what was going on, and nobody knew. But the boys, I think they had a suspicion, the snakes.
Yeah, there's a bit of insider trading going on. People were looking at... You ever heard how hard it is to manage 3 houses, Connor? Like, ask me that. That's why you need ludicrous government salaries and bonuses, and the government being really well connected to the banking sector as well. Oh!
The snakes!
The snakes! It's a political podcast now.
But it's like very vague. Just you throwing wild accusations everywhere.
Yeah. That's 90% of my daily life.
And another thing. And another thing, lads.
And another thing. And one more thing before I let you go.
So this woman, she's in her home. She hears the hissing. She realises it's not a financial banker from Ireland. It's not a toothbrush. It's got to be a cobra. And not just any cobra, it's a black spitting cobra, which is a venomous species that she decides is in her bedroom. It's about to kill her, so she calls the lads out. The lads have to... can only assume it's like a firefighter situation. They've got to gear up, like the Ghostbusters. They got to come. No,
they have one man with a flute and a basket, and he's just going to fucking. You know the joke. You know where the joke is going.
The monster's wearing off. So we got halfway through that one. So she calls them out. And they turn up. They spend a lot of money getting there. I don't know how far they drive, but I'm assuming the team searched her home for nearly an hour before they discovered the source of the hissing, which I can only assume the stress of that hour is off the charts because every minute you can't see the cobra is another minute you're about to die.
Yeah, that's when the cobra starts learning your patterns, like learning how you walk and where you walk.
Like a video game. They walk the same route.
Cobras have predator vision, like isn't that correct? Yeah. Like, how do you, as a team, hunt for a cobra in a house? Because is it like a SWAT scenario, like that they have the guns and the flashlights?
But I don't think you can shout room clear if you check in, because I mean it might not be clear. It could be hiding anywhere.
So, yeah, he could be in the completely empty white room, or not the collection of bicycle inner tubes.
The collection of toilets with no water in them. Oh no!
Oh no! Yeah, cobra in the toilet, by the way, would be a terrifying concept.
I get a lot of those stories every week where a guy is sitting on the toilet and a snake comes up like through the toilet, but I never cover them on this show because they give me nightmares.
That's very true. And also that's one of the things that, you know what? Remember I told you about how I can't fall asleep anymore.
It's the monster.
It's not the monster. It's not the monster. It's because 9 years ago I thought I learned how to induce sleep paralysis, and I've been terrified ever since.
Yeah,
but it like
I like how we just rattle that sentence off. That's fine. If you weren't here for that episode, it's fine.
It's fine. You don't need to know. You've learned all you need about me from this one podcast.
Yeah,
but that snake in the toilet thing is something I would internalise and check every time, regardless of St. Patrick's hard work that he did.
How would you check, by the way?
Just have a quick look before unloading the goods, Connor.
So there's no... Yeah, but what's it? Like, a quick check is I'm just assuming you just look in and go, well, I can't see the snake, so it's not here.
Yeah, and a cautionary pre-flush, maybe.
Clever. That is clever.
I did see a video on Reddit once, and someone flushed the toilet, and a load of spiders crawled out from under the rim.
Off. No!
It was awful. It was so bad.
You'd never go near it again, would you?
No, I'd move house. I'd move countries.
I'd burn the toilet. Straight up, burn the whole room.
Burn the whole room, whole house, whole city. It's gone.
The whole city. It's got to be done, Mayor. It's got to be done.
Mayor, yeah, it's Shaun again.
You're not going to believe this. They're back. I got to burn everything again.
All right, Shaun, we'll get you a new house.
So we're going to move on to our next piece of weird news, Shaun, and this is a handcuffed Oklahoma man. And he does some pretty amazing things, because I have Oklahoma man, by the way, going for Florida man's title this week.
Right.
Handcuffed Oklahoma man escapes arrest on stolen ATV, leads police on another high-speed chase while handcuffed.
Badass. Absolute badass. Now, actually, in terms of escape vehicle, the ATV is underrated. Because
how so?
How many situations have we seen that people have been on the highway, if you will, in a high-speed chase, going grand? They try and turn off, go into open desert or a field or anything like that, and the car immediately breaks down and explodes. So the ATV, all-terrain vehicle. How many cars end up crashed in the water, Connor? Water is terrain, so it's all-terrain.
There's no way that ATV can drive in water.
It's an amphibious ATV.
How do you know?
An AATV, if you will.
If you will, because it's going to break down.
It's not going to break down, it's going to float. It's going to float. You ever seen,
That's not driving. That's just floating.
No, because it's got an engine.
All right.
On the back.
You're thinking of like an amphibious car.
Yeah, that's why I said an amphibious ATV.
For God's sake.
That's why I coined the term AATV.
So, an Oklahoma man was being arrested on Tuesday when he managed to escape and steal an ATV before leading officers on the high-speed chase through multiple counties while still handcuffed, authorities said. Police in Edmond spotted the fleeing suspect on the ATV, speeding past a stop sign and cutting through parking lots to the train tracks on the other side. The Edmond Police Department told Fox News that he was located just north of Oklahoma City. A second officer spotted the man run another stop sign and speed past more businesses in the area, police said. The suspect then cut through fields, wooded areas, all terrain. All terrain.
See?
Before
wait till the ocean comes up.
And then drove into the ocean and drowned. No, that's not here.
Oh, no.
And wooded areas before entering the jurisdiction of the Oklahoma City Police Department. After several miles, he drove the ATV back into Edmond after leaving Edmond to go to Oklahoma.
Well, he wanted to go home.
As officers... Oklahoma? He wanted to go Oklahoma? Is there something there? As officers pursued the suspect...
Oklahoma track list. Hang on, that's a musical.
They learned he had just escaped... Doesn't count as improv if you Google it, Shaun.
Well, look, I'm just glad he didn't end up in Kansas City.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, and then... Who was his accomplices? Oh, it was the farmer and the cowman.
Oh, for God's sake. Sing me a little bit of the farmer and the cowman, just off the top of your head.
Oh, it's... look, we can't... Copyright is a very dangerous thing, Conor. We don't want to get this taken down.
The Oklahoma play is very similar, or the musical is very similar to Disney. They will just copyright that shit. They don't give a fuck.
That's it. Like, it's ever since August 1st, 1955, when it was released by the label Angel Records.
It doesn't count.
Look, Overture.
Good. So, as officers pursued the suspect, they learned that he had actually just escaped from the Jones Police Department and was riding the ATV still handcuffed. So they didn't know he was still handcuffed when they were chasing him. It wasn't until they got closer to him they were like, oh, somebody else has already tried this. And they failed, clearly.
Free handcuffs, lads.
The chase continued into Logan County, where police forced the suspect to wipe out in a pool of muddy water along a dirt road. So not really all terrain, is it?
No, it's most terrains.
Most terrain, isn't it?
An MTV, if you will.
It couldn't even get through a piece of muck. Never mind the sea.
That's well, look, mud is like a weird hybrid terrain, I would say, because it's half land, half water.
It's a fucker of a Pokemon as well. Very poisonous. The suspect then surrendered to the police without further incident, which I think would be easy because, I mean, half their job was already done.
But yeah, they just have to read him the rights again. Also, what did you say about Muck? It's a fucking difficult Pokemon.
It's a very poisonous Pokemon.
Sorry,
it is
such a good sentence. So they just found him in a pool of mud, and
so they were
already
chasing
handcuffed.
him, and the ATV decided that it was going to wipe out. That one of the terrains it couldn't drive over was a piece of mud. So muddy terrain wiped him out, and he went over the handlebars.
I think the ATV might have a conscience of some kind and didn't want to be involved with this crime any longer, and so it voluntarily tipped over in the mud.
It wouldn't just be the fact that maybe it was just not built for that kind of terrain at that speed.
Well, look, if this man got away on an ATV from this crime, then the ATVs would be the most popular criminal vehicle in the continental United States. And so to protect his ATV brethren, the BTV, if you will, he voluntarily gave up himself and the man who was piloting the ATV.
So, okay. Okay. Right. I don't know where to start.
Take a minute. Take a moment.
No, I'm taking a minute. Look.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting that there is some sort of transformer situation where this ATV has a conscience and is deciding to just get rid of its drivers when they commit crimes?
Well, it's not necessarily a transformer situation. I was thinking Knight Rider, but I think we talked about that last week. So this week, Herbie Fully Loaded.
Very good. Love Lindsay Lohan in that. One of her best.
One of the best. And love Herbie in that myself. And I'm going to run out of fucking sentient cars eventually. It's going to be Vroom Vroom that I talk about.
There was the guy from Cars called Owen Wilson.
Lightning McQueen, Connor.
Lightning McQueen.
Ka-chow.
So the police then chased after him and then decided to say, "Get on the ground, stick your hands straight out in front of you," police can be heard saying on the body camera footage. It was then that the police discovered that he couldn't stick his hands completely out because due to the fact that he was already handcuffed, half their job. If the guy's already like pulled out his handcuffs, he's like, "Wait, somebody else was here." Who's this?
Just a power move would be if like it was a magic act and just like, and now with the power of handcuffs, and then he disappears.
His name was Lucas Strider, which he didn't do once here. Strider was initially being taken into custody on suspicion of stealing copper wire and catalytic converters. So
Right.
I think he's being arrested for stealing copper wire and then decided to lead them on through several counties in a chase while handcuffed.
Well, the price of copper these days, Connor. Have you seen it?
Whenever they make this run, surely you want to do it for something big. Like, you don't want to get arrested for stealing some copper wire and then thinking, let's lead them on a multi-county chase, that'll get me a lesser sentence.
That's true. I'd imagine the ATV isn't very fuel efficient either. So I think you're going to spend more on petrol than you're going to make in copper.
I don't know if he was buying the petrol due to the fact that he probably stole it.
Do you think the man who steals copper wire and catalytic converters wouldn't own an ATV?
Well, he already stole it when he was handcuffed. Like, he was handcuffed before he got on. So they nearly had him. There's a case in this moment where the original police officers have him. And they let him go. And then 2 hours later, they have to explain how he got to this point 2 hours later that he's still loose.
But look, from my perspective, this man, reclaiming some copper from people who weren't using it anymore, or to its full efficiency, hopped on his ATV to go down to the copper shop, and then got confused. Cop shop, went down to the police station, said, "Would you like to buy some copper?" And they put him in handcuffs, not understanding that he was doing a service.
And what service was that?
A travelling copper salesman.
A travelling copper salesman. Of course. That was pretty big, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's the oldest profession.
It is. Yeah. I would say as old as copper.
Sure, once you had copper, you had the copper salesman. And it's a straight line from there to ATVs,
Do you know what? I think this might be your craziest ever week.
I think I'm having a stroke.
I think you might be having a stroke. There's been multiple times where I'm like, Shaun, what are you even talking about anymore? But at the same time, you gotta respect it.
Just, I'm trying to bring a bit of chaos to comedy these days.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely bringing the chaos.
Okay, I'm halfway there.
Halfway there.
As Bon Jovi said.
Whoa.
Look, maybe it's the monster speaking. Maybe it's the couple of cups of coffee I've had today. But I'm feeling great. I
think so. He had to get involved. He stole the ATV from a nearby home. He reached up to 70 miles per hour and they had a chopper and 7 cars chasing him through multiple counties for copper wire. I want to reiterate, he had not murdered or done anything real bad. He had stolen some copper wire and eventually had 7 cars, a helicopter and a multi-county chase on his hands.
Isn't that like 4 stars in Grand Theft Auto is when the helicopter starts coming in?
I think when he gets on the ATV, he has 1 star.
Yeah, for the copper and the ATV theft. And then the longer the chase goes on. For the
copper wire is 1 star. For the ATV, that's 2 stars. But then, once the chase keeps going and the SWAT team get involved and they have to call in the radio to get the helicopter with the spotlight, he's driving through counties, he's going back and forth, he's going over 80 miles per hour, they can't catch him, he's all terrain. I think you're at 5 stars.
Yeah, maybe. And then that's when the army comes in, I believe.
I think next one was they were going to have to bomb him.
And is napalm terrain? Because does that?
He tries to drive through the rocket.
He's just, yeah, it's like there's a sea of lava in front of him, and he just revs the engines like, let's do this.
Has a moment of like, oh fuck, but then looks down and he just sees the initials ATV, and he's like, I think it'll make it.
He gets renewed confidence.
Yeah. He's like, oh no, that's a different type of terrain. And looks down and goes, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. And then he has a false advertising case.
Yeah. He's thinking ahead. He's like, I'm suing the shit out of them when I don't go through this lava. I'll show them.
And he's driving across the lava and the copper falls out of his pocket. And he looks back and he realises what he was really in this job for and swivels the ATV around to catch it.
This is the worst movie ever. Shaun, you know what? I think that's the end of Weird News this week.
We're going to end on a high. The man was successful.
The man was successful. He was arrested and he is going to jail for, I could only assume, for the copper wire, maybe he would have gotten a year to 6 months.
Yeah.
And I think for the multi-county chase, he's probably going to go away for about 7 years.
Yeah, I think those chases cost quite a bit as well. So
yeah,
they're probably not pleased that happened. But they saved on handcuffs.
They did. Only one pair. Recycled it.
If that's the last story, Connor, do you want me to take us out?
I would like that.
Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Weird News Wednesday. We will be back on Friday with Hero or Zero, Monday with Movie Mondays, and next Wednesday with another episode of Weird News Wednesday. Big thanks to everyone who supports us over on Patreon, patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. Link to that in the description. Big thanks to everyone who supports us over there. Special shout outs to Please Get Vaccinated, Ciara Lawler, David Clarke, Ed Ball, Joe, King Shark do 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 do, King Shark do 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 do, King Shark do 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 do, King Shark Bernie, Róisín, Schrödóisìn, Hally, Ryan, Right Time, Evanson, Shaun, Heroes Don't Do That, Jamieson, Dominic, Jessiah, Florida Gal Green, Anna, Go Ducks, Hjelmroos, Lil Dicky, who would win, Slipknot the band, or Slipknot the DC character, McGrew. I think we've established it is Slipknot the band, because they have the numbers.
Slipknot the character.
It's you can't climb a band, Connor.
You can climb over the odds, though.
Odds are terrain, that is true.
It's true.
Thanks also to Danny McLaughlin, Ray, sorry for that outburst, have a custard cream on me, Luke Hoth, and I can't believe Wanda did this. And by this we mean steal copper wire and go on a multi-county chase. So thanks to everyone who supports us over there. If you want to join those fine people, you can get a shout out for $2 a month, but if you can jump up to $5 a month, you do get extra movie reviews and TV show reviews that we do over there, all linked below, so do check it out. Also, there's our merch store. Twitter is @Heroes for Hire Pod, the 4 is number 4. Facebook is Detective Divilment's discussion group, or Heroes for Hire Podcast there as well. You can also follow us Instagram, Heroes for Hire Podcast, or email us at heroesforhire_@outlook.com. But I think that's about it, Connor.
I think so. So I have been Ciara Lawler.
I have been a very hyper Shaun Meehan.
True. We shall see you next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.